Hi, I'm Andy Cranston and I've brought you today to the Gloucester Canal on the Pamali stretch. And I'm going to show you how I tackle a big deep canal like this on the pole. Today we're on the Pamali stretch of the Gloucester Canal, which is more sort of known for some smaller fish and not so many bigger bream, so my mix reflects that. So today we're going to go for a purely sweet mix. I'm going to start off with a full bag of sweet skimmer and half a bag of black river. Now the reason I've chosen that mix is the sweet skimmer, as it says on the bag, is a lovely sweet caramelly sort of mix, nice and fine in consistency, and everything will sit over that. Don't be fooled by the name where it says skimmer, because all fish will sit over that. I'm hoping to catch all species of fish. And with the black river, that's a little bit more of a neutral mix. Again, everything will sit over that, and with it being a nice dark mix, it will just darken that sweet skimmer down a bit, and the fish are going to feel more comfortable sat over that today, especially with this bright sun. So let's get that mixed up. I've opted not to use any fish meal today because we're just going to be fishing a pole today, and as I said, here where we're fishing is a lot of smaller fish and I want to catch everything. So if I was going to feed some fish meal, that would be on a feeder line, but we're not going down that route today. And if I was to do that, then it'd be the classic F1 Dark and Thatchers. So anyway, let's get this mixed up. Start off with the full bag of sweet skimmer. Straight in. Half the bag of black river. Right, got my drill with me. Give those dry ingredients a quick whiz round to make sure they're perfectly mixed together. Now we'll start to add some water. Okay, so I've added a pint and a half of water to that bag and a half of ground bait, and we've got it consistency just right now, just slightly damp as I want it, and it's time to add the final ingredient to my mix, which is 2 pints of damp lean. I'm just going to put that in through a riddle, so take all the lumps out as we put it in. Just run that through there, push those lumps through. And just turn that into the mix. The reason for adding that lean is because obviously we're fishing in deep water today and I want a bit of weight to my mix to get my bait down accurately where I want it, exactly where I'm putting in. And also with the lean, it adds a bit of cloud to the water, which is obviously going to draw some fish in, and that's what I want today. So that lean's gone in. As you can see, there's the finished article. Lovely, one squeeze, binds together, rub between your hands, back to its original form. Perfect for today. Right, so our ground bait's mixed, and I'm now going to show you what areas of the peg I'm going to target. Now to start with, we've set up a little short line at 5 metres just on the top 4 of my pole, and I'm hoping to catch, that'll probably be my starting line. I'm going to put 1 or 2 balls in there, probably one hard, one soft, try and get an instant response and get a few bites really quickly. And then our second line is on a long pole at 13 metres, and we're going to feed that a little bit more positively and aim to catch some better stamp fish over there. I'm probably going to pop 5 or 6 balls in out there, a little bit more bait, and aim to leave that maybe half an hour before we go on that, and hopefully have some better quality fish sat over that. So next we'll talk about the rigs I'm going to use for today, and I'll be using these new Kerry floats ranging from 1 gram through to 2.5. On that short line I've just set one rig up for that, a nice 1 gram rig, bulk 2 droppers, number 10 droppers, nice and light. Like I say, aiming to catch some slightly smaller fish there, and then moving out onto that long line, as I said, aiming to catch some slightly better stamp fish there, so my rigs reflect that. I've gone for rigs from 1.25 gram through to 2.5 gram. The 1.25 is again just going to have a bulk and 2 droppers, a little bit lighter, so I can do more with that. I can lift and drop, I can fish smaller baits and get some more bites probably on that rig. And then my 1.5 gram rig is again going to have a bulk and 2 droppers, but bigger droppers. I've got number 8 droppers on that, a lot more positive. So that'll just be for, again, targeting mainly skimmers on that, holding nice and still, maybe lifting and dropping every now and again, and aiming to catch some better quality fish. And then my final rig, 2.5 gram. Now that is for holding absolutely dead still. I've got a bulk and 4 number 8 droppers on that. Really stable rig. I'm going to hold that in my pole support, hold it dead still, and hopefully catch some bigger fish doing that. So onto the hooks, and today on all my lines I've opted for N40s. On the short line, just a 20 to 08 AccuPower, nice and light, small hook, fishing smaller baits probably there, aiming to catch a larger number of fish but probably a smaller stamp. And then out long, 18s and 16s, again M40s, fishing with 010 and 08 hook lengths. And that's generic for any part of this canal really, not just this stretch, even though today we are fishing for probably a smaller stamp of fish than lots of other parts, but I'd still fish that sort of light, 08 and 010 all the way through. And then moving on to my elastics, on all of my rigs except my heaviest rig, I've just gone for a 5 original slip. Nice and light, strong enough to be able to strike through the depth of water into the fish, but soft enough to catch these smaller sort of fish. And then on my heavier rig, my 2.5 gram, I've gone for a 6 original slip. A little bit more beefed up, because as I say, I'm aiming to catch an odd bigger fish on that rig, so I just want a little bit more control and to set the hook through that water. Okay, so let's talk about bait. Now, I've brought a reasonable sort of selection with me today, as on a venue like this, you're gonna have to chop and change a bit. So you need to be changing baits, changing rigs to keep bites coming through the day. So what I've brought is some maggots and some pinkies, both dead and alive. I'll put some deads in my ground bait to kick off my peg. A few casters, again, just to put in my ground bait. Some red worms for the hook and some dendrobinas for chopping up. So what I'm gonna do now, spin round, grab myself a bowl, and measure out some ground bait. First off, we'll start with a short line. I'm going to feed 2 balls there. So I'll just measure 1, 2. And in there, all I'm going to add to that is just a pinch of dead pinkies like that, not too much. About the same of casters, not too much again. And a little blob of chopped worms. And I don't want to feed too much bait on that line, because that's where I'm going to be starting off, so I don't want too much bait there. I just want to see what response I get at the start. Make those balls up. And what I'm going to do there, I'm going to form 1 ball and squeeze that reasonably well. Like there. And the second one, I'm only going to squeeze it once. I want that quite soft because I want that to break down. So I'm just going to pop that one in like that. I want that fairly soft, so that's going to get almost to the bottom and then it's going to break up, and that's hopefully going to draw some fish in quickly, because as I say, that's going to be my starting line, so I want a quick response there. And then in a separate bowl, because I want to keep my mixes separate, I'm going to measure out for my long line. Now this line is going to be much more positive. I'm going to measure out 5 balls for there. Let's just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sing that bucket down. Now, same again really, but in a bit of a larger quantity with bait. So I'm going to stick a bit of a bigger pinch of dead pinkies in there, like that. A couple of dead maggots this time as well. Try and pick out a few bigger sort of stamp fish. Mix them in. Some casters. And then a bit of a bigger blob chopped worm this time, probably more like that. Mix that all around. We'll make them up. I'm going to squeeze all of these pretty firm on this line because, as I say, I'm going to be potting that in and aiming to leave that line a little bit longer, maybe half an hour to an hour, so I don't need that soft ball to break up really quickly. That's 3. 4. Last one. Get everything out of that bowl. Five balls. Right, that's the bait sorted, ready to feed it into our peg. I'm going to spin round and show you how to do that now. Alright, time to kick the peg off then. I'm going to start by feeding that short line, as that's the line I'm going to be starting on. So I'll start off with that soft ball, straight in. On the top 4 of my pole, so I'm fishing. Lining up with my far bank marker, drop that one in. And that second ball, exactly the same spot. Line up, drop it in. Right, let's feed that long line. Again, lining up with my far bank marker. Yeah, tip him in. Pop one slightly to the left this time. Just looking to make a little bit of a bigger area there for some better quality fish to sit over. I don't want it too tight, but then again I don't want it too spread out either. Same thing again, but I'll just drop this one just ever so slightly to the right. Yeah. I'll just drop these last 2, smack down the middle, create almost like a little sweet spot for me to lower my rig over. Last one. Same hole again, straight down the middle. And that's the peg fed, ready to go. Right, so we've had a lovely little start, probably caught a dozen or so little hand-sized skimmers, up to around 8 ounce, a few roach and a perch. And that just goes to show the benefit of feeding that soft ball at the start. They've come straight to that. Peg seems to have tailed off a little bit now. I feel there's been enough fish there and I've caught enough to warrant topping up this quickly. So I'm going to quickly ship out with another little ball and see if we can get another instant response and settle some fish on the peg again. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to get one little ball like that. That's sort of big, size of a tangerine. I'm going to pop that straight on top of that line now. So the Gloucester Canal is one of those venues where the fish will tell you when they need to be fed and when you need to top up. There's no hard and fast rules as to certain times when you need to top up. The peg will tell you that, and today's been no different. I've had a really good start and caught plenty of fish, had lots of bites. So that tells me that as soon as the peg tails off slightly, there's every chance that they've mopped up everything that I've fed at the start, and I can then go in with another ball and top straight up. That's not to say that the long line's going to be the same as that though. I've not shipped out there yet, but it could be a case that those 5 balls I fed at the start could potentially do that all day. We won't know until we have a look, which we will do shortly. But as I say, it's sort of venue where it will tell you what needs to happen and you've just got to gauge what's right on the day. Okay, so we've had a lovely start on that short line, catching probably 4 or 5 pounds, mainly skimmers, a few roach, even a couple of eels and perch, which just goes to show anything will sit over that ground bait mix. The bites have started to tail off now, so I have put another top up in, but I'm going to take this opportunity to have a ship out onto me long line and see if there's anything sat out there. So I'm going to show you through that now. Just going straight in on a single dead maggot. That seems to have been best on that short line, so I think that'll be my best option to start on out long. Line my bulk up with my far bank marker and just fold my rig over like that. And what that does is just gets my bulk down really quickly, and for the last 6 to 8 inches of the rig I'm just going to hold that still for a few seconds, let my rig straighten out and then lower it really slowly right over the top of the spot and see if we can get an indication straight away. Started off on my 1.5 gram rig, bulk and 2 number 8 droppers, so sort of like my medium rig, still fairly positive but not, and there we go, an indication straight away. Great start. Just take your time, no need to rush, not fishing for loads of fish. Looks like a little skimmer. Nice way to start off on that line. There we go. Great start. Little pommy to start off with. Lovely little fish, get him on hook, drop him in the net. Go out and catch another one. Well, There's a fine example of the sort of fish you can catch from the Gloucester Canal, employing simple pole tactics as I've shown you today. I think that's a lovely fish to end on as well. So let's slip him back and take a look at what we've caught. Well, there we have it. What a lovely day's fishing I've had today on the Gloucester Canal. Well into double figures in just over 3 hours fishing, mainly skimmers, a few roach, perch and even a couple of eels as well. As I said earlier, just employing simple pole tactics, and this is what you can catch. Hopefully you've picked up a few tips from me today that you can take into your own fishing in matches and help you to catch a few more fish.